Hi guys, in today's episode of Taylor Talks Trades, we are with Graeme Carling from United Capital. He's taken us on his journey from apprentice joiner in Dundee to international property and business investor. I hope you enjoy. Graeme, welcome to Taylor Talks Trades. I'll start where I always start. How did you get into the trade then?
Well, I got into, when I was 15 and a half, going to leave the school. So I never knew what I wanted to do really. All my mates were, they were all going to be an apprentice joiner or wanted Sparky or a brickie or stuff like that. So, but I never had I never knew what I wanted to do when I was at the school. So we were getting pressured, what are you going to be, what are you going to do? Yep. And I was thinking I'm going to stay on at the school. And I went and seen the guidance teacher. And I said to him, look, I don't know what I want to do, so I'm going to stay on. And he went, no, you're not. So he said, look, no, you're not getting to stay on. Basically, you're wasting your time here at the school. Yep. You need to, and I was never really too academic, knowing the classes that I didn't like anyway. So 15 and a half, had to make a decision. And I said, I said to my dad, look, I don't know what to do. My mates are going to be, that's just what you done in Dundee. Yeah. You left the school and you went and got a trade. Yeah. That was it. So I didn't know how you done it, but it was just something that you done. Yeah. So I went along to a CITB, an event there, filled the forms in, and it was at the YTS time. So it was you can go on at £29.50 a week. Yeah. So I went, filled the forms in, and I got selected for an interview, and it was with a company called Charles Gray. Charlie Gray were one of the big companies, building companies in Dundee at that time. So I went along, and they were taking 3 apprentices on. Had an interview with them, and I got the job with them. So I got the job out, and I was over the moon because it was £29.50 a week. I was working in McDonald's in Dundee that had just opened, one of the first McDonald's in Scotland had opened there. So I was earning 30 quid a week there. Yeah. So I was loaded, you know what I mean? So I was doing that at the weekend, apprentice during the week. And really that's how I got into it. So it was never any great, I had to work. I knew I had to work.
Did you think you were going to be hands-on? Was that the kind of thing? A common theme that we've seen on the podcast is people going, I wasn't that academic, but... And it was like, did you put yourself in that box a wee bit that'll just be... Or...
No, I absolutely didn't because
you were wanting to stay on is kind of what you were saying there. You never wanted to progress.
So I didn't have... And by the way, when I took like woodwork or techie, I was hopeless at it. Yeah. But I needed a trade. That was it. So I seen myself, and when I got into it, I was never that good at it. Yeah. So, and I always had ambitions and aspirations to do more. I just had this going on, but never knew what it was that I wanted to do. Yeah. I just knew kind of I wanted to work for myself. That was always an ambition, but to do what, and I didn't know. So at the time, so I was kind of clueless, really. Yeah. So it was an accidental into the trades, but then met a load of trades pals at the college and over the years. So
and how did that progress then? So obviously I see what you're doing now, which is more investment and property and all that sort of stuff. How did that journey transpire then? How did you go for maybe being possibly going to be a joiner, but then progressing to actually maybe a businessman and taking that route?
Well, I think as quick as it came for me to be a joiner, what happened was my dad had got promoted and to a job there in Kent. And I couldn't get, so after about a year, I couldn't get an apprenticeship down in Kent. Right. So I got a job in an office because I needed to work. I got a job in an office for a transport company, and I loved that environment. I liked the use my mind. Yeah. Constantly. It was a high pressure environment.
The busyness.
Busy. I really thrived on that. I was young. I was at the age of maybe 16 and a half, 17 at the time. So I left all my pals, if you like, up in Scotland. I went in there. I wasn't going to school, so my brother and sister, they met new pals at the school, and I was working in an adult environment. Yeah. So I got the buzz for working. So I worked like anything, I worked 6. And at the weekends, I'd go on a lorry over to France, to Paris. Now, coming from Dundee, that was a holiday. You saved up all year to do that, So, so I used to do that on the weekend. So I'd get back on a Sunday night, back to my work on a Monday. So I just immersed myself in that type of environment, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's almost like I sometimes refer to it as like kind of escaping the culture scape a wee bit. I read that out of a book, and it's almost like that sort of you're maybe fae Dundee and it seems like you're set to be there, but you've moved down there, you're now just nipping out to France willy-nilly almost, you know, and it's like, so you just started to expand your mind and what was have you always worked on your mindset? I've seen that you've worked with some mentors and different things. And
we do, that's massive. I mean, I say we do, myself, my wife, and I'm huge at that. I'm huge at that. I mean, and so, I'd worked my way up, always wanted to start my own business. I started my first business, I think it was in 2000, but by 2003, I had 3 failed businesses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, only small businesses, but they just didn't work out.
You were just trying things.
Yeah. So, and I think after my 3rd failed business, skin, no money, ego dented, pride bruised, you know, just completely licking my wounds, and in a low place. And I remember catching the tail end I was on the TV and it was Oprah Winfrey with a guy called Robert Kiyosaki. And he was talking about his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
So I went and got that book, read it, and it was, oh man, it was like a light bulb moment for me, because I'd never quite worked it out.
Yeah.
You know, I knew that, you know, my arse was always twitching. I was always twitching. I knew I had to do something else, but I couldn't really work it out what it was. And then obviously tried it, but listening to people that had never been successful giving me advice, and I'm listening to that, and that was my dad, my family, and your pals, that you should do this, you should do that, and it was wrong advice. It was, the environment was wrong, because I'm listening to people that hadn't been successful, that hadn't really,
and they try to protect you as well.
Yeah,
they almost go, oh, didn't go too big and do this, or if you do that, that's going to hurt, you know, because they've not seen it before. So now that's a good point, is getting surrounded with that. So is that how you go on the property journey really then?
Well, it was, but I mean, it took us, from 2003 to 2008 before I bought our first property. So, you know, I had to re-educate myself. I had to get out of that environment mentally, which was hard. You've got to unlearn. I'm not saying that, you know, the rubbish that you've let
conditioned and
beliefs, conditioned.
Yeah.
So you have to unlearn that, and that's hard. Because that's in you. There's a default mechanism in all of us. So I had to get out, I had to unwind all that. So in the 2007, when things started going bad, when people were starting to get out the property market, I was just speaking to a guy there about that on the way up. We got in. That was our time to get in. Now, I'd recovered mentally because my confidence was shot. 3 failed businesses. We managed to recover from that financially. I got myself in a good place where my confidence was back, in order to, I knew that this was a great opportunity, but you still had to take the jump and go and do it again. And it worked out good for us, because as everybody was getting out, there was value in the market, and we were able to get in and take advantage of the market, that market for a number of years.
It's interesting, and I guess would there be a bit of advice on that to people now, that there might be something, the way the climate is now, that it could be a good time to get in again?
It's a great time. I'm not necessarily talking just about properties here, because you need to be vigilant. But that's why we've went from the property business to multiple sectors. So we buy businesses where we see value, and that's the one thing that we are good at, is identifying value and acting upon that. So where there's value in markets, so at this moment in time where there's chaos, but from chaos comes order. So there's a huge amount of wealth transferring at this moment in time, but you've got to have the mindset in order to be able, not just the mindset, then you've got to act on it. But be careful who you're taking advice from, because you know, for me, that's we felt the pain of that from taking bad advice.
Nah, makes sense. And you mentioned your wife there, Leanne. So she's been quite a rock by your side during that.
Yeah, she has. I mean, I met Leanne when I was back. So after my failed businesses, I had to go back to mainstream employment. Hated it, every day of it. I was good at it though, but I hated it every single day.
You would excel when you're used to doing business. You maybe go back into that environment, you're probably going to excel, because you just give that wee bit. But that you've seen a lot more as well.
But that was never going to be for my life, you know what I mean? So, I met Leanne, so that was great, going back to mainstream employment. But so we've only ever known each other working together.
Yeah.
Because she worked with me.
Yeah.
When I was made.
So did you just work when? Right. So he's met when you were employed.
Yeah.
Right.
Met when we were employed, and both got our jobs on the same day and started our business together. So we've only known working together. We don't know any other way. You know.
Nah, it's a good partnership to have. My wife's very similar. It's like. That's 10 years I've sort of been self-employed and then took the company to limited and over that like when I first started up self-employed, it wasn't a good time, and you know that the wife's probably the only one that goes, you can do it, and they're scared but they believe in you, and it's like it's really important having that cornerstone of somebody who just goes, no, go and do it. And I've been very fortunate, it sounds like you have been as well, to just have that support there, because like you said, a lot of people will maybe give you the wrong advice or try and hold you back, and it's difficult to try and push that then forward. So where does it go for there then? So property, kind of investment, what's happening? Where are you now? What's going on now? Like,
well, we pivoted a few years ago. We started looking at building services businesses.
Yeah.
We're still involved in that, mixed. But now we've expanded that now throughout the UK. We're looking at some deals now down in Spain also. There's some opportunities for us down there. So, they're not all going to work out. Some of them work, some of them will not work.
Yeah.
And you've got to take that. It's like when you're buying properties, property portfolioos. There's a risk there. Not all of them are going to be perfect. Some of them are hard work. Some of them need to cut, and we should cut quicker. We're a bit slow at that. But,
yeah. And do you think when you refer back to that 3 failed businesses as such, I take it you're not scared to fail then?
No, and
that's a big part of it.
Most people, they'll fail once and never recover.
Yeah, because it burns.
They'll never recover.
It's almost like touching the fire when you're wee or something. You didn't go and touch it again.
Absolutely, it's sore and it's painful, and you want to broad shoulders on you. Yeah. But anybody that's ever succeeded had to cope with failures and multiple failures. Yeah. So we're no nearly. We're glad we failed. I'm glad. I should have failed faster.
Yeah.
I tell my son this: fail faster. Yeah. Right, fail when you're younger, because you're going to fail. Yeah. It's fine. And it's okay. How do you cope with that? And it's very difficult to second guess yourself. Yeah. How you're going to cope with that in that moment. If I go back to your wife and your partner, whether it's your wife, it's your business partner. That has been certainly because it's very important is when things are going bad, when things are not going well, how does that relationship stand up and how does your partnership go? Because it's in those moments, because everything's great when everything's great, but when the shit's hitting the fan or things are just not going as you should be, and you're under a lot of extreme stress. How do the relationship work? And I think that over the years, even with the team of people and the people we've got on our board, and their guys are resilient. So I like people. I pick people that have been through that hard time. So I'm fortunate in that Leanne is she's as resilient as me, and she keeps me going in my weak moments, if you like. We all have them. And likewise with her. But with the team of people that we've got and we select coming into our business, failure is one of the biggest pluses that I see, because if they're bouncing back, because they've got the scars and the wounds and
it gives a lot of resilience, and you've got to put yourself out there. And like you were saying, so if there was any advice for maybe say 4th or 5th years, maybe ready to leave school or whatever, what would your sort of advice be to them? Like, is it like, so a lot of the people that's been on the podcast, they're saying get a trade and then you can build a business off the back of it once you're a tradesman, and you can do that. And it can be quite a long route, but it can also be quite quick if you go about it the right way. Have you got a different angle because you did the trade stuff? Has that helped you, or did it slow you down? And you said you'd want to fail faster as such. As you would advise them to take bigger risks? Or
I think first of all, it's okay not to know at that age what you want to do for the rest of your life. It's okay. I thought it was the end of the world. You had to pick something, and that was going to be me. I was a joiner forever. And I didn't know anything else. And that's all that anybody that I knew were doing. That's what you done. You went to school, you got a trade, and that was it. It's okay not to know. And it's okay to pick the wrong trade or the wrong job, or because you're still only young, there's plenty of time to recover. But what you've got to do is do something. You have to do something, move, even if it's in the wrong direction, but keep moving, action, and keep then moving forward.
If it's the wrong thing, adapt,
change. And don't be scared to change and say, I've changed my mind. No wrong with that. Because guess what? We're all developing, we're growing, and change your mind when Now, I know that happens a lot. People go to uni and they don't like that course, or they go and want to be a joiner but don't like that, want to do something else. That's great. So what I would say is do something. Do something.
Start moving forward in one way or another.
One way or another, do it.
You can always change.
You change it later, and that's fine because you don't have all the answers at that age. If you want to be a businessman, a business owner, do you need a trade? Well, what's the alternatives then? If the alternative's nothing, well, you do something.
Yeah. Get started.
Yeah, get started doing something, and it'll evolve and come out.
We sometimes did so with people that come in and start with us, we'll maybe get them to do a year, and then they start an apprenticeship, and it's almost like you could see it as a wasted year, but it actually allows them to really find themselves within that time and go through a winter, like, we're roofing, so you're out in all weathers and stuff like that, and it allows them to see what it's like, what the environment's like, and sort of make a decision, because it is, like you said, if you don't know what it is you want to do and you just pick a trade and then you're in that for 4 years, most of the trades are a 4-year apprenticeship, then it is quite difficult to then be halfway through that and maybe go, I want a change or I want to do something. But I agree with what you're saying. It's like, don't stick at it if it is absolutely isn't for you. Like, you've just got to pivot and go into something else. No, that's interesting. And I see that you're quite busy. You're kind of all over the place. So where are you actually living now then? Because I see you in Dubai, then I see you in Spain.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, this year we've been fluid. We're based in Dubai, but we're back to the UK. We've been back here sort of every week, every couple of weeks, mainly in London and down in Spain as well. We've got an office down in Spain. So we're spending a bit of time down there. We're doing some business down in Madrid. So we're all over the place now, and we've just evolved. Now for us, again, based up in Dundee, businesses in Scotland, but we need to keep pushing the boundaries. It does never stops. So where you're going and you're putting yourselves out there and you're putting yourself right out your comfort zone, and you've got to go and say, well, are we really going to go and expand our business internationally? Well, we need to go and be international.
We need to be there.
We're not going to kid ourselves on that we're going to get it from living just up in
Running a business
the Highlands,
Dubai for Dundee kind of thing.
It's not going to. We've got so we very much now we test ourselves continually and put ourselves out there, and at high risk and a high risk of failure, a high risk of because we're getting higher profile. Then we're on. If that fails, then you're going to get shot.
Yeah.
But that's part and parcel, of trying to be successful. So we've got to take the good with the bad, and so we lead by example.
So you're actually taking the risks and you're driving it forward.
We go and that's our role in our organisation, is to not talk the talk just, but we're out there trying to drive our businesses forward. And I think certainly for this year, it's been an up and down year in terms of the businesses that we've had. That's what happens. But from a personal profile point of view, the opportunities and that we've brought by doing the things, by sticking to what we do, has brought so much more opportunity to the company and to the business and to our staff. Our staff are, they're all growing and developing, and it's been good. It's been
seen that if you're leading by example and kind of charging that forward and no being afraid to fail. No, that's really interesting. And where do you? Is there an end goal? What's the your mindset seems pretty bulletproof. You seem pretty resilient. Like you could take any failure or brush it off, kind of thing. Are you focused on something? You got a big vision? Is that sort of there?
The big vision is listen. We want to do international business. You're always buying and selling, so there's always, because we kind of dictate what happens in the market. So you're always buying and selling. So you can have a man plan, God's laughs. You can say, oh well, it's a 3 to 5 year investment and we're going to exit. Yeah, that's the type of business. What we're trying to create is generational. I think you go from when you start off, which you don't know. When we started off, we just wanted security. We wanted to earn enough money from our properties that made sure that we didn't need to go back to mainstream employment. Yeah. So if it was whatever X amount of £1,000 a month, paid our mortgage, paid our cars, paid our food, and we got on a holiday. Mm-hmm. That was stage one. That was all we were focused on. Then when you get that, you're looking to, that's security. You're looking to earn a bit of money. Yeah. You're saying, okay, actually, I can do this here. We can earn some real money. So then you go. So then what happens is you can improve things, and then things get a lot easier and better. You're no pressured. Counting the pennies and all that stuff. So that was kind of like stage 2, and I think stage 3, which is again, it's you've got that then, the security and the money, and then it becomes bigger than that.
You say, well, what is it now then? And what's it? Well, it becomes legacy. Legacy. What really have you achieved in your life that is just beyond kind of money? But I think so. We're not at that level at all yet. We're just still hustling in the middle here. But that's ultimately it. But fundamentally, we love doing what we're doing.
And it's just going through the gears. It's like survival to almost like thriving almost.
Yes.
It's like it's getting up through. And like you said, it's that, I think I picked you up there saying generational wealth. Like you want to pass that wealth into your kids.
And the knowledge. The knowledge.
Kids and,
it's the knowledge for me is more than the money for the kids. Because you can give them that, then they can become spoiled brats and all that stuff. What you're looking for is for my son and we've taken our son and daughter to courses. They come with us, they travel with us when we go, and we spend a lot of money on our education and keeping on mentorship and going and meeting people and really testing us, putting ourselves out there. Well, these guys are miles ahead of us, but it's in an environment that we love. You know,
it's almost like that saying where people say if you're the smartest person in the room, you're kind of in the wrong room, and it's trying to get to the next room and the next room after that.
Yeah,
it makes sense, and it's quite good that. I've seen you on a couple of podcasts, and obviously coming on this one, it's like this stuff will be here for a legacy, you know. So your kids will be able to watch this in years to come, and maybe the lesson might not be valid right now, but they maybe watch it later on. They maybe have a wee failure or something happens, and they maybe be able to watch that back and go, "Well, Dad found that failure was all right, and he just kept pushing on." So it's good that we're getting the technology and the platforms these days to actually be able to do that stuff. No, that's great. That's great. So. What's kind of next immediate moves then? Is there?
Well, I think the immediate moves for us in terms of business, I think personally we're workaholics. We love it. So there's never an end for us. There's no like we're going to retire at a certain. No chance. We would never do that. We love doing what we do. We love just business and meeting new people and traveling and the ups and downs of it, you know, as crazy as it is when you're in the eye of the storm at times. But when you come through it, and you know,
it's like a bit of an addiction to that buzz. I found that as well. Like it's when every time myself and my wife Kelly, we get the business to a point where we're like, that's actually quite comfortable, and it's like, but it doesn't stay there for long. So you need to go for the next level, and then that feels really uncomfortable. And you almost go, oh, you like that buzz, and then it quietens down again, and then you go after it again, and it's like you said, I don't think it ever stops.
No, and I don't think you should ever stop, because one thing is, and we got this early on, so when we were in the property business, we needed a certain amount of money. It wasn't much, it was a couple of grand a month or something of passive income. And that was you then under the, you know, we were financially free because we didn't have to work for our money. The investments paid for our income. But just because it's passive and it's there once, doesn't mean it's permanent. So what you've got now is you take your eye off the ball. It's no permanent. You watch how solid you think that is, no matter how solid it may be. You're always moving. It just never stops. Now that might be frightening for some people because we thought that. We earn that money, then we're lying on the beach in Spain, laptop lifestyle, life's great. No, we tried that for about 6 months. Horrendous, hated it. That's not what we're about. We love...
Because you're used to that hustle and the
torture. There's nothing worse, believe it or not. We were living my mum and dad's dream, and that's what they wanted to do. No, for us, we love business, we love people, we love being right involved in it. So for us now, we continue doing what we're doing. I think we're in the right trajectory. The team of people that we've got, everything's in evolution. Everything just evolved. Everything's in transition because as you're growing, your problems get bigger, your team have got to get bigger, your advisors have got to get bigger. It never stops.
Just keep going at that comfort.
But that's okay. That's not something to be fearful of. That's something that's actually that we thoroughly embrace and enjoy. So.
Nah, that's brilliant. I appreciate you coming on, mate.
Yes,
that's great.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for sharing that. Brilliant, man.